Oh, hi there, Jim here again. So, I'm just going to give an update. Now, what I'm trying to accomplish here with making these podcasts is uh, I don't prepare any monologue. I just see my bees busy and I went and grab my phone. I don't prepare anything. I go with the flies. McFly. so, what I'm trying to do here with the bees specifically is show a journey, right? A personal journey, like a journal, right? On the trajectory of beekeeping for people that just want a beehive, right? They don't want it complicated. They want it simple, right? And what I've chose to do is to figure out how to make it simple, easy, uh, organic. You don't do nothing to it really. Once you get your stuff all set up and everything, then it just happens by organically. You don't have to do nothing. If you like honey, then you just collect the honey every spring and that's it. So today, um, they weren't coming in with anything, and the reason being is the last three nights in a row we've had below freezing, and the ground has become hard. So wherever they were getting all that food they've been getting, they were getting for like 4 days in a row. They're not getting any today. I've seen a few scragglers, but those might have come from flowers. But the heavy load. Oh, there's one there. That's part of feeding. So the ground froze. So wherever they were getting that major food source, uh, it wasn't. It has not been coming in the last 3 days because the ground was frozen. Not only that, but the last 2 days before today, it was really cold. They didn't even come out of their box. But today, this is what they're doing today. This is their day job today. So um, they're bringing in some food, but because the ground is frozen, um, they're not bringing in nearly as much as they had been. And so they had been all hunkered in the last 2 days. I didn't even see one come out the last 2 days until today. It was so cold. I would see one come and peek her nose out, and I would just come and check on them. She'd peek her nose out, and she'd go right back in. Because when one comes out they'll test the air and the temperature, and if it's warm enough, they'll go tell their girlfriends, and then they'll start doing what you see now. It's warm enough, girls. Let's go see what we can find. Right. So the ground is still frozen wherever they were getting their food, but they're like scraping at it, trying to get some wherever they were getting that major source. My neighbor probably. So my assumption is that he is using sugar syrup. So the source is damp. So when it freezes, it becomes like a brick, and they can't get any resources then. So yeah, he's got some sugar syrup in it. Otherwise, if it was just powder, protein powder, yeah, they would have been coming in this morning with it, because they've been out. They've been out since about 11 o'clock this morning, and there goes some there, but that looks like it was from nature. Yeah, I can really tell between the difference of the feeding, whatever they're getting, whatever somebody's feeding them, and what they're getting from nature. There's a distinctive look that's different. Easy to tell, kind of like a stroke of. See, I'm gonna paint this flower this color. I'm gonna paint that flower this color. Very distinctive difference. And so, what I did was I still have some girls coming in that one. It looks like one's getting ready to go in there now. Yep, there she goes. So, and I've had all these over here. I've had girls in and out of all those this morning. They really seem to really like those little styrofoam ones. They were like earlier. They were like heavy into the styrofoams because it's once bees get in those styrofoams, they'll be able to maintain that temperature in there really efficiently. And those little styrofoams have a slide open bottom, so if it gets too warm, I can slide that open and allow some free airflow. And so, yeah, there was bees earlier. There was bees all over there in all those hives, except for that one right in top closest to me. I didn't see anything going there. They just buzzed around it. They don't like going in that one. I think I need to open the entry wider because it's got a really narrow slit. I don't think they like that. It's really good to have, the opening should be something more like a 3/4 by 3/4, um, because they want to be able to get in and out quickly when there's a lot of food sources. Um, yeah, so the port needs to be a certain size. So sometimes what'll happen is you'll get a situation where um, a hive will split, but not much. Say, for example, there is like, say, 5 queen cells in a hive. What'll happen is, if the scouts have already scouted like 5 hives, they've got, okay, from the same hive now. This is all from the same hive. If the scouts have already found 5 suitable homes for those 5 queens that are developing in their queen cells, the other bees will defend each cell. So whatever ones were probably focused on building that cell, they're not going to let the first hatched queen come and take out their queens, because they've already communicated with another hive of other, so a hive that has some bees in it that's established that hive for their future queen. Those bees have already communicated with each one of those cells, and the brood, the nursing bees that are protecting them, building them. There's already a communication thing going on. You protect that cell. Maybe some of them from that hive that they're getting ready to go, preparing for their queen. They'll go in there and they'll walk around that queen cell inside that hive to protect that queen cell from the other queen coming in, first hatching queen coming in and killing that queen. Now, does that happen? I don't know. I'm maybe I'm making nature smarter than smarter than what it is. But they've had millions of years to get it right. so I'm thinking that, so if this one has my main hive here, if they've made 5 queen cells, and there's a dozen, because I got a dozen out now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, I've got 12 mated nukes out. And the one in the cherry tree, oh, they're starting to come with more food, so the ground must be thawing wherever they're getting that food. It ain't much, though. Boy, they were coming in with so much. Until the last 2 days, they stayed in. Don't blame them. I stayed in too. Well, actually, I got out yesterday and was prepping my asparagus garden and getting it ready. I think I'm going to dig up all those asparagus crowns and just kind of redistribute them in that asparagus garden. And I took a bunch of bricks down, so I'm going to use them to build another structure here to expand my apiary section here. And so, where was I? Oh, there's some pollen. And so, I get distracted so easy. Because when we have a lot of different projects that we're doing almost at the same time in our mind, and they're going through our mind, processing, and it's like I'm sitting here thinking about the bees, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about something totally different, and then I'll think about the bees, and then there's something different than that, and different than that, and I'm going, okay, where am I in all these different things? Do I have a priority that maybe I should focus on right now? So many projects, right? But I love having lots of projects. So there's hardly nothing, no scouts. Yeah, I don't see any scouts right now. So, like I was saying, I got 12 baited nukes. And so, so what was I talking about? Oh, the queen cells. So if they guard each one, if there's guards guarding each one of those queen cells, and 5 queens hatch out, and you got a dozen baited nukes, and each one of them are occupied with those bees in there, anticipating one of those 5 queens. They've already they've already selected one of those queens. Now I'm not I'm just giving my opinion here. You may have a different one. I'm just going, if I was engineering nature when it comes to these bees, I would have put that in their genetic makeup to be able to give them that skill set to perpetuate their species more efficiently, right? And so if I have 5 queen cells and I have 5 occupied hives that they've already prepped. In fact, the one in the front, um, I went out there the other day, well, 3 days ago, 4 days ago now, I think, and they have pooped all over the entryway. What they were doing was, I had 5 frames that I had in there, thick with comb. I can only get 5 in there. I built it I constructed and designed it for a 6 frame, right? But the comb was too thick from last year's, you know, so I can only get 5 in there. But that one is the most heavy occupied right now. Not this 10 frame. It's got 9 full frames in there full of honey and resources. This one's not as occupied as the 6 framer in the cherry tree. It's something about that particular size 6 framer. That's what I caught him in last year. This hive over here, that's what I caught it in. So my hope is that if I can get like about 6 occupied hives, or right now I have 2 occupied hives, and I got maybe 6 queen cells that are being developed, that they'll all come out and be directed to go out and get mated. And these bees that are in these boxes have already selected one of the queens. They've already picked up her pheromone in the cell, and so when she flies out, those bees that have already selected her from one of these active hives that I have will follow her and guard her and protect her. And so when she's done mating, they will bring her back to that hive. Think I'm right? I'm guessing. If I was going to give the bees the genetic code to do something like that, I'd certainly put that in their genetic code, right? You do that like this in these certain situations. So they're out navigating again. So they were hunkered in for 2 days. Couldn't come out and navigate, couldn't go out and get food, couldn't. Oh, here comes the food now. The ground's thawing out enough. So now when I first came back here, I had the hole narrowed down. They're all big, huge ball in front of the hive here, because I close it down at night to help keep more heat in. And then when I see that when I check on it and see it's getting more active, then I'll open it up like I got it now. I got it about 3 times wider than I normally have it. And so you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing here. It's like it's like anything. You get the fundamentals. You learn the fundamentals, and you get what's called a consensus on a topic. Could be anything, quantum mechanics, biological science. It doesn't matter. Playing the guitar, you get a concept of something, and you take it from there. Do you become your own explorer, and you do it your way? You know, whether it be painting, like oil painting. You get the concept, and then you paint it your way. You do your own Da Vinci, whatever, you know. You paint your own strokes, right? It's about getting the fundamental concept of something, and then you do it your way, not somebody else's way, right? Plagiarism is something that was really looked down on. When I was in college, I had a professor that had a conversation about plagiarism. He says, could you imagine if everybody copied everybody? We'd be nothing but mental clones. He says, come up with your own thoughts. Get the idea of something, and then you take it from there. You build your own thing. Write your own script, right? Be your own creator. And that really stuck in my head. And so I've focused on it like that ever since when it comes to learning something. Certain things you can only do one way. You know? There's certain things you try to do any other way, you're a goner. Right? Party's over. But most things, you can be creative with. I like to be really creative with my organic meals, so I go out and pick my garden stuff, and I go in there and make all kinds of different combination of meals. I don't follow any recipe other than what's going on in here in my thoughts. Like, what am I going to do different? I don't want to do anything I've done before, right? I like to be creative that way, and that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't buy anything in a box, a jar, a can, a bag. Yeah, I don't have to focus on reading any directions about anything. 'Cause I'm my own creator, right? I'm my own organic garden chef. I do it my way, and I just love it. It turns out, my one meal a day dinners turn out so great, and they taste so organic and healthy. It's crazy. I love eating it. So anyway, uh, yeah, there's no activity over there right now. Oh, there's one. She's doing it. She's a scout, so she's like bouncing all around the outside, checking all the little cracks, going along like where the seams come together or the sections. She's bouncing around the seams, poking as she's going. Is there any air coming through? They do a really good job. All right, the inspectors. Yeah, pretty good job. And so, oh, there's a bunch more bees building up here in front of this number 4, American honey number 4. Yeah, they're starting to build up there. Not so much over there. Yeah. There's some navigation going on there. So, um, it's been really cold, and 3 nights in a row below freezing. And so, I'm thinking that these girls might go, because it's going to get cold. This is the coldest time of the year. So I'm thinking we get a few more nights like that in a row. They might come out of that mentality. It's time to split, and all the investigators will disappear. Man, I think we're jumping the gun here. Right? And they may end up going back to the original hives that they came from. I still think they're mostly from mine, because I've watched one come out of this one here, and she walked around it and then flew right over there and went in. So that was definitely my girl. Like I've said many times before, a hive will not let a bee in there, into their hive, that isn't their sister. They only let sisters in. Sisters, sisters, all's I want. Frank Sinatra and Danny Kaye. Yeah, White Christmas. So, it's so funny. Sisters? Yeah. Yeah, dressed up as women. Yeah, that was funny. And, and so they could hit all. So the one that's occupied in the front, and this one that's being occupied here, if we get in like lots of cold days in a row, which is what usually happens this time of month, this time of year, in this month, January. So this is January 16, 2026, and they can all just say, "I'm going home." It's just ain't working, and they can all go back to their original hives, and then behave more normal come spring, and then focus on doing some splits. Right? But I'm already several months. I'm several months ahead of schedule. It's better to be ahead than behind, isn't it? Right? Especially in a race. I'm in a race to catch hives, so I'd rather be in front than behind when it comes to that. Because I didn't catch this swarm I got here, which is the only hive I have. I didn't catch this one until middle of May last year. And if I had better instincts, more knowledge about catching swarms in my area, I would have had everything out and prepped on nice days, so they can get a mentality in the hive that, yeah, we got stuff here. There's comb, there's boxes, and they'll plan like a month or earlier maybe, and do some splits, and I can get more hives up until May. So if I would have known that, I would have caught probably maybe 3, 4, 5 hives well before May, right? Maybe starting in March, I would have caught hives, or middle of February, whenever the weather was warm enough for them feeling, so that they felt comfortable going out there and doing those splits with a certain amount of consistent warm days. Uh, yeah. So if I can go into fall with 6 hives, I'll be so happy with that. I don't have to do those splits myself. Just let nature do its thing. Let nature do it. Right? The only thing we need to do, us as beekeepers, is to make sure that they've got the locations. We need to make sure that there's no spider webs, because I pulled out one of these nukes, so that one that was firewood that became a beehive. I was gonna burn that whole 4x8. It was just scorched in so many areas, big scorched, like. But I salvaged it, and then I sanded off some of the burnt, because some of it was just burnt like on the outside, just a little bit like scorched on the outside. I sanded that off, right? Right. So there you go. I was talking about something else, lost it. 4. Oh, I lost that golf ball somewhere. I don't see where it went. Yeah. So, yeah, get a head start. So the fact that I had all these hives, but I've got all these nukes ready. But yeah, I was talking about the spiders. So I laugh at myself a lot, because I have so many things going on in my head at the same time, and I'll get distracted because I prioritize those thoughts too. And I'm going through all these different topics of things that I'm wanting to do, and even should do. And I'm trying to figure out prioritization, right? I'm trying to prioritize. So this spider, I get back to my story sometimes. It was in one of those nuke boxes, the one from the trader that I made. And I opened that up, and there was this big funnel in there, and I saw that spider. Man, it was about half the size of my hand. Big spider. And it started scrambling around that box, scared to death. I went, oh, you're in the wrong place. It was scared to death, right? It didn't want to attack me. No, it was scared to death. That moment, I felt sorry for it, because I knew I was going to take it out. So I really don't want a bunch of funnel spiders in my property. They kill my bees. They have a purpose in my property, but not in my beehives, and not in certain locations where I'm working. I was working in the garden 4 years ago or so, 3, and I knelt down. This was the middle of spring, late spring, and I knelt down to do some stuff with my raspberries, and I felt what felt like a pinch. I thought I just kneeled on something that maybe felt like a pinch. Well, the next day, something didn't feel right with my left leg. So I pulled up my pants leg. I was black and blue, this wide, all the way around my kneecap area. All the way around, black and blue, swelled up. It was all swelled up. And I looked kind of close, because the swelling had expanded my tissue. I went, I want something bit me. I don't remember hitting my leg on anything. And I looked close, and I can see the 2 fang holes in my front of my knee where it got me. Funnel spider. Didn't see it. So, yeah. So when I saw that funnel spider, I'm going, you know what? One of your relatives already got me in the knee. And so, yeah, I just can't have you in my property if I see you. Go back out there. Leave my kneecaps alone. And so, I don't fear anything, because it's actually not a good idea to fear anything. It's understand to respect the increase of cortisol and adrenaline and those other stress hormones. But what I've always chosen to do when I felt the psychological or emotional or physical threat was immediately assess the danger and the level of the danger, and or the risk of what I'm about to do by jumping off this cliff into this You know, we used to jump off this big bridge, green train bridge, into the Yakima River in Washington. Yeah, and I had a sense of apprehension, right? You can call it fear. I would say it is. But it was an apprehension that if I dove off this bridge, there might be an object down there in the river that I'd hit, like maybe an old car or something. And but I jumped, and then I swam around down there looking for something. Didn't find anything. It was a pretty fast-moving river, and I didn't see anything down there. Told my friends, "Yeah, I didn't see any. There's nothing down here. I survived." Hey, hey. And we jumped off the bridge for I don't remember how long. It was a long time. We had lots of fun. And then there was this other quarry that had a nice big lake in it. And there was a quarry where they were digging stuff up, and they stopped it. And so what they left was this big lake, man-made lake. And there was a cliff that you can run off of, and you can either go splat or you can go dive, right? My first one, I chose to go toes in first, right? Bend the toes down, go see how that felt, make sure I didn't hit anything, right? Swim around there, look for the bottom. I can't find the bottom. It's pretty deep here, I guess, so I'm not going to hit anything likely. And then yeah, we would jump off that thing all day long off the cliff. That was a lot of fun. I think I was like 13 years old. Yeah. So fear is something that sense of fear is something we need to respect. Oh, that sun has gotten right where it does not belong. Bad sun. Here comes the sun. Doo 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 doo. So it's important to understand why we feel that threat. Not that we feel it. Like a lot of people, there's people that will feel that a certain level of threat, and they go, kind of like those sheep. I've watched those sheep. They get a sense of fear, and they're running along, and they get this sense of fear, and they just drop over, pass out. Well, humans are the same way, right? Many animals are like that, right? The fear, the cortisol and the adrenaline and all that is so fast it overwhelms the brain, and the brain just goes, what? And over they go, right? I was in the Army, and we were donating blood. And there must have been like 15 in this big room donating blood. And I was sitting there getting my blood drawn. I had a little apprehension. Yeah, anybody sticks anything in my arm, I'm going, I don't like it. I don't like anybody sticking anything in my arm. I don't care what kind of things they are, needle things or snake things. So I was 18. And I could just watch these guys. They start to act. I start to bat, and then their head leans over and they're out. Right? I choose to understand the increase of the cortisol and the adrenaline, which makes us fear, gives us that sense of fear. I choose to assess the level of it. In other words, I choose to be critical and analytical about the level of the threat, and then I'll respond accordingly, and that's how I do things. Right? I don't, because I realized as even young kid, I realized that the only thing that I was fearing mostly was the fear itself. So why am I fearing this fear? And then I would do that thing, and I'm going, why was I feeling that level of? Then of course I didn't understand cortisol and adrenaline, but I chose to tackle that sense of fear head on, unless I realized I needed to turn around and run. The lions and tigers and bears, oh my gosh, and there's 10 of them, I'm running. Right? And so, yeah, I don't have fear. But I do understand threat. So I assess the level of the threat, whether it's psychological or emotional or physical. I respond accordingly. And it's always worked out. I'm still here. I was able to address it well enough, right? That it didn't kill me, right? that I was analytical and you know in that critical thinking aspect of fear that I'm still here, and I did so many things in my life that many people would have just died, but I just evaluated every single little speck of everything, and then real fast within seconds, milliseconds, and then I made a choice and jumped. Yeah, there you go. So my bees are doing great. Yeah, they're still over there, Nav. They're still over there. Still some periodically over there. Best kind. I got some going in and out here. So if I can get, if there's like maybe 5 days in a row that are nice and it doesn't freeze at night, then they might do an early splits because they can split. There's certain different breeds of honeybee. There's some breeds of honeybee that will split, say, in middle of February, which is a month away. Now these do have a mix of corolla. The corollas are known to be early splitters. They've been known to split in January. Uh, and so, yeah, it could happen, right? Right, I just thought I'd drop this little note of what's happened because nothing happened for 2 days. Everybody was hunkered in, including me. And there's some girls over there inspecting their possible new homes. Right, it's free rent. There's no taxes, no nothing. Right. Okay, well, please subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, leave a comment. If you know what's happening, you have some information, share. Right, I'm sharing. I'm sharing my experience. And you have a good day. Bye now.